fellow language learning nerds, it's good to be talking about languages again. Since it's been a little while since I last have been able to chat about language learning and learning Japanese, I thought maybe I'll just give a little update for a couple of things that have been happening in the last few months. It's not many, and one of them is actually a future update for my class. So I go to Japanese class just once a week. Thursday evenings I head over to class, and it's very informal class. Like, I don't have to take an exam at the end of the school year or anything like that. The teacher isn't being like, oh, you have to be at a certain level to get into next year's one or anything like that. It's very chill. It's just like the class is learning as the class learns, and the teacher is very chill and open about it. And one thing that she's let us know is that from next school year, so September, our class, because we've been going on for so long, for some reason the school that we learn at won't let us call the class like Japanese such and such level. So our teacher was like, what would you like to call our class? And so we've been thinking about that. From September, our language class might be much more casual in like it's a Japanese language and culture class, or Japanese language and reading class, or movie class or something. And that way our teacher hopes that it could open it up to more students. We can have students of a similar level, don't have to match exactly, but then we can all just try and learn and help each other at the same time. And also, it doesn't mean that every single lesson it has to be strict on, we're doing some vocabulary, doing some grammar, It can be like, this lesson we're going to learn through manga or through anime or movies or music or whatever it is that we want to do. And I am really looking forward to it. I think it really could open up how we learn and really make it a bit more fun. Our teacher recently has been doing kind of this a little bit. For example, we did a section where we watched the trailer for the anime Demon Slayer and our teacher, she like transcribed the whole trailer, and so we had little sheets that we could like follow along with what they were saying in the trailer, and then we could try and work it out. Things like that, which has just been fun, you know, and really kind of changes up our language learning. And you know, we did a music video as well at one point, which was loads of fun. I thought it was fun, and I think it will be fun. I'm already looking forward to next school year's classes, so positive. Sticking with in-class stuff, a little while ago, our teacher started like introducing us to our first Japanese idioms, I believe they are, which was funny because like the week before I had been thinking to myself, I really wish we could learn some phrases, you know, that like maybe you don't really realize when you hear it what it means, but you know, kind of like the phrase like kick the bucket or something. Like, if you're learning English, it just sounds like you just said someone has kicked the bucket. Why did they kick it? Was it in their way? Did it hurt their foot? But when you learn it, you're like, that doesn't mean that. Oh, okay, much more serious. And I was kind of hoping we could learn some things like that in Japanese class. And then the very next week I came in and our teacher was like, I got some phrases for you. And we started learning these idioms, and she's grouped them up. So when we did like four or five of them, and they were all to do with the mouth. Like, do I have at least an example for you? Kuji ga umai? Which when we first heard that in class, we were like, mouth is delicious? I don't know what? And a teacher was like, no, it actually means more like a smooth talker or someone who has the gift of the gab. And we're like, oh, okay, that makes more sense. But yeah, that was really interesting. And then like the next week she was like, I've got more for you, also to do with the mouth. And we were like, more? And then the next week she was like, I've got more for you, also to do with the mouth. And then finally she was like, okay, we're not going to do the mouth anymore, don't worry about it, we've stopped that, now it's about the foot. And then we ended up getting like a bunch of phrases about the foot, and then she was like, now it's the hand, and then after a while it was the nose. So we've got like a bunch of phrases that all to do with body parts. Like there's one of te o hiku, like hand, pull the hand. We're like, what does that mean? But apparently it means like to quit or like to give up. And there was another one, what was it? Hana ga takai, so like nose is high. And we thought, well, that's kind of similar to like in English we would be like, oh, someone has their nose high, their nose is up, maybe they're a bit snobbish or something. But this one is similar-ish, it's like someone's very proud. But yeah, we got loads of these sorts of phrases now, and I really like them because I feel like these sorts of things make a language very flavorful. I don't know if that makes sense. But yeah, here's to learning a load more of those in the future. My last little update is that now, if you happen to have watched a bunch of my previous videos, you might remember that I've said plenty of times that one of my worst skills is listening. My reading and writing is pretty decent for my level, I'm not too worried about that, but my listening is terrible. And I had spoken about my kind of, what I was trying to do was on my way to or from work, usually to work, I would have on my phone, I would have like a little list of podcasts that maybe lasted only a few minutes, like 5 minutes, 10 max, of just someone speaking in Japanese, usually aimed at people learning Japanese, so not at other Japanese speakers. And I would just try and listen to that, so I'd have listening practice each time I went to work. And I have been doing that. Sometimes, some weeks I would kind of like fall off a bit, but then the next week I would get back, I'd be like, no, I'm listening to this one now on my way to work. Usually I can't do it on my way home to work because I am too tired. So the morning is the time for listening. I've been doing that for a while, and for a long time I felt like I had zero progress. And one of the things I struggled with was my attention. Like in general, even in English, sometimes if I'm having to do a lot of listening, if someone's giving a speech or something like a lecture, like I usually would have to properly concentrate on keeping my mind focused on the person speaking. Like it's so easy for my brain to be like, I am listening. Snap back. Oh my god, have I missed anything? What were they just saying? And that is really apparent when I'm trying to do listening practice. Like my mind almost immediately wants to go, ooh, squirrel, things like that. And that was something, even while listening to these like little 5-minute podcasts, I would have such trouble with that, trying to focus and listen to it. And I would find it was just rare that I would have a day where I was listening and I could focus on the majority of it. And this went on for so long, and I was getting kind of like down about it, because I was like, surely there would be some kind of progress by now. Like, what am I doing? And am I gonna have to really force myself to do loads more because maybe I'm not doing enough, or maybe I'm just doing the completely wrong method? Like, it was quite frustrating. But very, very recently, I kind of noticed that on a few occasions when listening to, say, a podcast, say like 5 minutes, and I would listen to it and I'll be like, okay, I actually still have some energy to listen to more. My brain isn't frizzling out. Oh, I'll listen to a second one. While I'm in the mood, let me get some extra listening in. And I would do that. And that started happening a little bit more often. Even more recently, I've been making myself do some listening when I'm at home with YouTube videos. There's two in particular that I have been listening to. I'll put up, hang on, let me get their names and let me put it up here next to me. So the ones on YouTube that I have been listening to, two channels in particular. There's Japanese with shun, and one that I found very recently, Daily Japanese with Naoko. I've been using them to do a little bit of listening, and I found myself surprised that I was able to listen for slightly longer than I would usually do, like past the 10-minute mark. I was like, oh, my brain's still going on. And I think I'm finally kind of realizing that my brain is finally kind of been able to stretch. What does that even make sense? For example, ages ago when I was first deciding I'm going to work on my reading, I'm going to try to read manga in Japanese, and my first thought was like, I'm gonna read a chapter, yeah, let's do this. And I would open it and I would get to like 2 pages, and then my brain would just be like, I would struggle. I could only read maximum 2 pages for like such a long time. And then finally I realized, oh no, I'm actually doing 4 pages now. Oh, I'm actually doing this. And now I can easily get to a full chapter of a manga before my brain starts to get tired about it. And it's just that kind of build up, that sort of, you know, you exercise a little bit, and then eventually you can do a bit more, and then a bit more, and then a bit more. You build up on it. And I think that is finally started to happen with my listening. It's only a tiny bit. It's only a tiny bit. I've gone from like this to this. It's not like some dramatic thing. I'm not like, yes, I'm just listening to the news fully in Japanese now. It's just, I've just noticed the first bit of improvement to my listening. And because that's the skill that I struggle with so much, I'm gonna celebrate it. Yeah! So yeah, I'm gonna try and keep up that sort of thing. Keep trying to do my listening, my little bits of listening on the bus, and now trying to do my little bit of longer listening with YouTube videos. Yes, because yes, if I keep it up, maybe I'll see a little bit more improvement, and that will keep on going. Yeah. I think my main language fear is like if I come across someone and I have to speak to them in Japanese, and the fear doesn't come from me speaking. I feel like I could stumble my way through words and grammar enough that it would all make sense. However, my fear comes from when someone else will start speaking to me and it will just sound like blah, 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 blah. I'm like, that's my little jumbled rambling on about some little updates and stuff in my language learning. The main one I think being my listening, even though it's just a tiny improvement. Teeny tiny improvement. So yeah, I will finally let you go get on with the rest of your day. So I guess all that's left for me to say is, may your grammar be structured and your vocabulary varied. Bye! I just realised that in the back of the video you can see Gudetama with all the pins in his head, and he's okay, I swear. He's fine. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. He's fine. He's fine.